Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be here again, and I know you guys loved the last video, but this one is a little bit more personal because it's my personal business story of how I had a full-blown social media agency with multiple employees, a big old office, and how I've basically shut it all down and started again, because it's a story I've not had the format to speak out in full, but now I do. I'm going to tell you all about it. So let's start from the start. I started social media management in 2020, I believe, when I started at a social media agency, which, my God, was a nightmare. But I started at a social media agency where I was managing over 60 accounts. I was doing it all myself because, side story, they were doing OnlyFans videos in the office and I didn't know about it, but hey ho. And I basically asked my boss, I was like, can I start an Instagram page where I just share my tips and tricks and share what I'm learning in the agency? And they were like, go for it, that's gonna be a great name for the agency and everything like that. Fabulous. 2 months later, they fire me for the page, my Social Moody page, but actually it was because I said no to OnlyFans videos. So I had just bought a house, I just got fired, and I was like, fabulous. Social Moody was not a business at that point. It was purely sharing tips and tricks. So there was not an option for me to be like, right, let's dive into this when I had a house to pay for. So I got another job as a community executive, and that's where basically I learned how to build an online community and keep people engaged and really build a community that is solid within the brand. But alongside that, I was building Social Moody because the page absolutely blew up. I was sharing Canva hacks, I was sharing social media tips, I was sharing so much education content. My page completely blew up, where one point I was celebrating 30k months, the next I'd be celebrating 30k months. At one point I was celebrating 30k followers, and the next month I was celebrating 40k followers. It was incredible growth, and since then I have become very stagnant, which is why my last post I was talking about my 10k follower challenge. But I very much was like, this is going crazy. And then because of the amount of new followers, I was getting so many inquiries, and I ended up doing social media management like I used to do in my agency job, but doing like full social media management for £50. I did not have a clue about pricing. I didn't have a clue about running a business. There's no one in my family, none of my friends, no one in my circle at all ran a business, and it was very much accidental how it happened. I never thought I'd run a business, even though I used to have a jumper business prior to this, but hey ho. And I was like, oh my goodness, all right, I'm gonna do this then. So I built it up, built my income up, and it got to a point where I was earning the same in my full-time job that I was earning in my business. And I just thought, why am I doing both? I know if I go all in on this, I can really make it a big thing. And I'm someone that doesn't let something go half-hearted. Like if I'm doing something, I'm going all in. So that's what I did. I came back from a 2-week holiday in Kos and I handed in my notice. I quit my job in 2022 and full-time social media manager. That was a crazy time, 2022. I never invested in support. I was very much doing social media management for like between £200 to £500, and I was fully winging it. And over time, 2023 is when it really boomed. I invested in a mindset coach, which at the time, I didn't know coaches were a thing. I didn't know mentors were a thing. And I invested in a mindset coach, which was the best thing I ever did because my mindset was terrible. I was a big people pleaser. I was staying up till 1 a.m. to amend clients' content. If they responded to me at like 11 p.m, I'd make that amendment right there. I had no social life. I would literally wake up, just grab my laptop and sit in bed like this all day, not even get up. Like I'm about 200 steps a day. I got very fat. I was eating absolute crap. I didn't go to the gym because I didn't have time for it. Like 2023, when I literally lost myself within the business and I looked like a completely different person. And if you've seen photos, you'd be like, whoa, what is going on? So 2023, I started hiring freelancers because I was literally managing like 10 or 12 accounts. And I was like, this is getting a little bit crazy. So I hired freelancers, but I was I stupidly hired freelancers that I thought, you know what, I'm going to help them. I'm going to give them experience. I'm going to show them what it's like to be a social media manager, because I was also starting to train social media managers. And that came at a very heavy cost, because not only was I running my business, not only was I doing my content, not only was I managing clients' accounts, I was also then training people within my business to run my accounts and paying them to do that. That was a horrible business structure that I have, and I will always tell my clients my real honest experience with freelancers. There was even one freelancer that didn't post for 2 weeks because she didn't feel very well, but didn't tell me, so a client didn't get any posts for 2 weeks. And that was when I was like, no, I am taking this all back and I'm doing it by myself. So I got rid of all of the freelancers, took all the clients back by myself, and I had a very, very heavy workload. But the clients were super happy. They were like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that you're back on the account. Even though I foreseen the strategy, I saw what was going out. Like I very much was managing the team, apart from one girl who I thought I just trusted, but apparently not. So then I took it all back. So then from there, I launched a social media management course. I sold that for £1,000 and someone bought it on literally the first day. And I was like, what? Where I'm literally teaching people how to be social media managers. And I still have that course, which is linked down below if you want to grab that. Teaching people how to become a social media manager. So then that was the passive thing started. I did a membership. That was great. Got 70 members within the first week of the launch. And I was building up a real solid community, very much around social media managers. In 2023, we did our first retreat for social media managers, and that was amazing. I'd never been on a retreat, and it was great to give social media managers a safe space to grow with each other and also connect. And we did that in Palma. And I did lots of little community events for social media managers. 2024 came about, but during that first year as well, my relationship broke down with my past fiance. Weird to say, because we were literally engaged for like 3 months, and I was going through like a proper head mess. Like, okay, I'm running a really successful business that's earning like 10, 20k cash months, but I'm also, my personal life is actually crumbling. I've got a house to sell now. I've got to like sort everything out, and it was just crazy times. So then in 2024, I launched the biggest program I'd ever done. It was a 10k mastermind. It was helping social media managers hit 10k months. It was teaching them all of the fundamentals of getting clients, scaling their business, passive income, launching memberships, becoming that expert. And my teachings were incredible, but unfortunately a program that I'll just never ever launch again. And went on a retreat, we went to Marrakesh. I then run it for a second time, and we went to Dubai, and the girls that committed got incredible results. But like I say, we'll just never ever launch that again, and I won't go into the reasons why. And I bought an office. And part of me thinks I bought this office because I was going through this breakup. For context, this breakup, we broke up and we got back together, and then I was like, well, what am I doing? Then got rid. And I lost myself completely. So I bought a high street office because I was earning literally 20k, 30k cash months. I was literally in this terraced house working from my home and thinking like, this is not embodying the business owner that I am right now and the business that I have. So I got the office, completely revamped it, and got my first time full employee, which is literally like full house. Like I was paying national insurance, I was paying pensions, like things they do not prepare you for when you take somebody in-house. Like I wish someone had told me hiring someone in-house doesn't just mean that they're there fully for your brand, it also means you are fully liable for everything in there. And that was so much pressure. Like every income that was coming in was from me. I didn't have a sales team. I didn't maximize my team to bring in sales. It was very much sales are on me, I'm then paying you to help. And that was an awful business model from myself, and again something that I really help clients avoid. And then I got a second team member who was my PA, and the team ended up being great. Like we really gelled well because we all had different strengths. Like one employee was so creative, the other employee was so organized. I was very much like the face of the brand, but then still becoming a little bit invisible in the brand because I now had a team. And I quickly realised I was not meant to be a manager. Like I'm a people pleaser through and through, and being a people pleaser and being a manager does not combine. So when you become like friends with these employees, it gets very, very hard to have difficult conversations. So that was in 2024, and I bought my house on my own in 2024. So I had some great successes from the outside, but in the inside, I was quite literally crumbling. Like, I probably one more like downfall from a huge mental breakdown, and that actually happened in 2025. We launched Scale Up Social again, and the same problems arise, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And then the team just wasn't working, and we came to the decision of like, this is right. So they left, and I then was just left with this office, a business that I couldn't see myself connected to anymore, a community that really relied on me but just didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. But I was getting constant messages of people being like, oh my goodness, you're so successful, you're absolutely killing it, like how can I join everything? And I felt like I was living two lives. I had the business version of me that people saw from the outside with the office, the team, everything like that, and there was the inside of me where I was crumbling, the team was leaving, my personal life, like dating, was a shambolic. I got this house, and I actually didn't decorate this house until I met my now boyfriend and made it a home, because I was a shell. Like, I'd come home, I'd carry on working, and then go to bed. Like, there was no other piece of me in that such. But I had a huge breakdown and then got diagnosed with PMDD, because 2 weeks of the month I would just be like, I don't want to be here. And I very much think my business fed into that. So when all of this happened, when I got my diagnosis, when I got myself back stable, I was like, I am never ever going to have a business that doesn't reflect the true me, the true of what is going on inside the business, and makes me feel like I'm a different person. Like, something I really encourage my clients to do is show up as their authentic self, because even though I was back then, it was somebody that I had kind of shaped myself to be in front of the camera. And I've always been myself, it's always been me, but the identity that I had with myself was completely different to the identity that I have with me now. And that's done a lot of healing, solo trips, journaling, getting in meditation, and loving myself more, 100%, but also having a very healthy relationship where my boyfriend does support me. He very much is like celebrating, but also brings me back down to earth if something's like, right, no, that's not right. So that is my story of like, till 2025. So how have I now rebuilt all of that? How have I now come back to gaining a stabilized business, doing things that I absolutely love, and I wake up every day like, I am me and I am in the business that I am meant to be having. Although I am making some changes, which I will probably announce like in next week's YouTube video. But it changes that it's just allowing this business to feel even more like me. And that's the thing, you are allowed to make changes in your business. I think one thing that I thought when I first started this social media agency and Social Moody, I thought, well, I've got to carry on the thing that I have been established for. I've got to carry on the thing that I have built for so many years. And that isn't the case. People change, people grow, and I know that firsthand. And you're allowed to adapt your business to that. That's the beauty of what we do. It's about you. It's about what works for you. So make it work. So I would probably say the pivotal moment was, I'm going to say September 2025. And very funnily enough, I met my boyfriend in September 2025. I'm not correlating the two. I'm just saying life became stable. Like, life became so much less chaotic. I stopped going out every weekend because, number one, that's what single girls did. But I found like the drinking was messing me up massively. So I've stopped drinking. I now have a routine in my week. So I know Mondays are my CEO day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are my client day, and a Friday I have off. Like, that is my structure. I know like weekends I can actually take time off, whereas like years before I'd be opening my laptop like just to make sure clients are okay, but I have boundaries in place. And I built services and things in my business that light me up. So I had the Inner Circle program. This program is all about teaching the things that I am so passionate about, from your foundations of like creating your content, being creative, showing up your authentic self, your mindset, the sales side, and then also the expert level side. So you're getting like podcast invites and your PR and things like that. Like we're building things like that. And I'm so passionate about who I help inside there. So that's like the main part of business. We then also have like the strategy days. I meet up with clients and it's just me and you for the whole day, and we strategize your whole business. And that's the thing, it's not just about social media anymore. It's about everything else from where I've learned, the mistakes I've made that I can pass on to you to avoid. So whether that's your systems, whether that's processes, the tech behind your business, the financial stuff, the content strategy, the branding, like it goes so much more beyond social media now. So my brain is constantly like, and I've really focused on those services for literally the last, where are we now? October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. The last 10 months. Like I have just solely focused on that and that only. And only now starting to introduce something else, because I have gotten to know my ideal client so well. I've gotten to know what works for me so well. So like the program is structured to not only support my clients in the best way, but also support my life in the best way. I used to get anxiety about calls. I used to get anxiety about voice notes and things like that. So I've put things in business that allow me to not ever have that feeling again, but also make sure I've got clients inside the business that don't make me feel like that again. And this is obviously such a raw and vulnerable video, but it just shows you like you can change and adapt your business to this based on the experience you've had. I have not had an employee in my business now for over a year and a half, and I can say I now know every single thing that goes on in my business better than ever, better than before. I've got systems that automate things. I've got my onboarding system. Like I don't have to do every single thing, but I have processes that allow it to be easy. Like I have made my business easy, but also I work hard for it to be like that. And it could be like that for you. This is why I'm doing this video, because I sent out an email this morning just talking about the fact that I closed my agency down and started again. And someone messaged me like, I need to work with you because this is what's happening to me right now. Like, I want you to feel heard. I want you to feel like someone has been where you are right now. And if you have employees and you're thinking, I don't want this anymore, it's okay. It's okay. You built this business for you, not anybody else. So you're allowed to change. And I want you to remember that. So now we're here in August 2026. I am about to launch a new service, and it's something that I've never dipped into before in my business, but it's something that I am so passionate about. I build all the time. I do it for my clients. I help my friends with it. So it makes it so silly to not bring it in and get my creative juices flowing. But if you take anything from this video, take that business is allowed to change. You will make mistakes within business, and that's okay. It's just about what you do with that mistake moving forward. I could have easily gone and got a full-time job in January 2025. That is how close I was to stopping this business. There was even days where I was literally in bed for 5 days, and my mum and dad had to come round in my new house and be like, Beth, are you actually alive? Like there was post unopened, like it was such a dark. And the fact that I am sat here doing YouTube videos, creating content, helping incredible clients, again, pat on the back for me, but also just shows you it's okay. It's okay if you're going through a dark patch. It's about what you do after. I then invested in a mentor in January this year, and she's very much helped me get back to my own positioning, bring up my cash flow, bring up my inquiries, even though I know how to do that for other businesses. And I'm sat here with a business that I absolutely love, and a business that gets me energized every single day. And if you can't say that it does, something needs to change, and I can help you with that, or you can figure it out by yourself. So I hope from this video you learn all those little bits, and I hope it gives you a little bit of a kind of like background of my story and how everything hasn't been easy. I don't just have 70k followers and it's been like flowing ever since. There was dark times in business, and we are on the other end now. So I'm here for you. Make sure you subscribe below. Make sure you like this video if you want more of these type of story times, and I will see you next week.